Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, February 10th edition of the Contributor Comms meeting. I still every time almost say upstream, almost say our old name, but Contributor Comms. As a reminder,
I've actually had to use our old name in conversation. Anyways, sorry.
Someone cared about us enough to make you do that? I'm flattered.
Well, it was more like, what is Contributor Comms? Well, we were formerly known as Upstream Marketing. Does that explain it? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I also was talking to someone recently who had a similar experience with it, actually. But reminder, we do have a code of conduct. And basically our code of conduct says, pretty sure that my cat just knocked something over. That's not what the code of conduct says. The code of conduct is to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. And with those asides aside, let's dive into our meeting for today. I went ahead and put a couple of things into updates, big wins, and we have at least one new item to talk about. I'm just going to say, any other updates, big wins, or new items that folks want to add, please go ahead and add them to the doc or let us know in the chat or by speaking up if you need help adding something in. We'll go ahead and start off with updates, big wins. This is not a big win, but it is an update. I'd like to be out next week. I'm going to take the day off. So, Chris, will you be available to handle the meeting or not?
Nope. I am also on actual PTO and not even in Michigan. So, yeah.
Nice. I'm going to be around. I'm just going to take the day off for chill time. But
yeah, like definitely don't wake up early. I feel like
if anybody else is interested.
Well, here's the thing. I cannot do it next week. Like, period.
Yeah.
I'll be on a plane. So there's nothing I can do about that.
All right.
If it's important, I can give it a go. But if not, we can just unschedule it, right? So whatever you think it's best.
We can do either way. I would love to help more folks get more comfortable with doing this. So Frederico, if you'd be interested in running it, I wouldn't mind getting on just to like listen to be a backup for you, but
I'm up for it, obviously, but I don't want to like jump in front of anyone. So if there's someone else that also wants to and feels very strongly about wanting the experience, obviously they can.
And you don't have to be super familiar with our group. I can walk you through the things that you need to go through. It's kind of straightforward in the document. You don't have to say a whole lot. You just have to bring up all of the topics.
Yeah.
So, anyone is interested, we could use some help.
Yeah, it's not that hard to run a meeting, surprisingly here.
If not,
it's intimidating.
I can do it. So
it's more intimidating than it is hard, right? I'll just leave it at that.
It's more about getting over that initial intimidation.
By now, with so many meetings that we've been in, it should be relatively, and we have the table, right? And the board. So it's
Which also kind of brings me to the next point that I wanted to discuss today, which is that one of the main topics from our meeting last week was actually removing the table and moving on to a GitHub board probably again, because we're getting to a point where we have several leads. We have folks who've been involved with the group for a long time and who are regulars, and we have a lot of work going on. So the table gets really long and it doesn't accurately reflect prioritization. For example, Imran right now is having to prioritize specific things because there's so many things on his list. So we're thinking that a table in a board in GitHub might actually be a better replacement for the table at this point, which is a wonderful, exciting development.
Yes, I am all in favor of this, to be honest with you. I could not be more strongly in favor of this.
And Frederico is kind of leading the charge here.
I also
Federico,
agree.
let me
I
know
think
if you
that,
need help.
no, I think that it's I took another look because of I was there, but I think that if we're going to move this forward, it's essentially we all together doing it, and I think it will serve the same purpose as a table, with the
Absolutely.
advantage of being easier to divide responsibilities, right? And yeah, and we'll have the list view and the Kanban view, so
Yeah.
that's always nice to move things. When we move things around lanes, it makes us feel like we're doing stuff, which is always great.
This is very true. Very
Yeah.
true. It's so satisfying to move something.
Yeah. So even if you move it back and forth, but anyway, what I can do in that, for that, I think we briefly discussed this last time. I think that we can just reuse the one that was created for blogging. I will change the name. I don't think that for now we need a blog specific one. It's better to aim at something general with general status that are applicable broadly. And then as we go along and we all work together, different leads, different requirements, we can determine if there's actually a need for any additional thing. So that is that would be my proposal. With one note that I just I wrote in the channel, in order to assign people there, and unless we want to assign it in a note or something, which is fine, but it only picks up members of the Kubernetes org. Okay. Oh,
good point.
So
I think that's fine. We can get people onboarded if need be, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
while we
you don't have to,
and
like,
when we do the notes, we can take a note, right?
Right, and like somebody can work on it, and then this
exactly
could be part of their contribution into the org. So yeah, it's totally possible.
Yeah, I just noticed this because I was trying to update the status of the SIG network Spotlight work, and I couldn't. So yeah, that came to mind. But yeah, there are ways around it that are feasible, like that one that you just mentioned.
Which I see, I believe, Sujay, you're adding that to the notes, right? Just says I, so I'm sure that's you. Cool.
Yeah,
Do I need to add my name there?
Generally, probably good so that we know who added it, but I'm going to update it for you. Say Sujay is taking over the SIG Spotlight for SIG Network.
Yeah, thanks, Kathleen.
Actually, it's a very good use case of the entire process again. So we have the entry there. I created a thread about it on our channel as well to give a broader view on how things go. And it's very helpful to keep things in the channel because we keep we can refer back in the next SIG Spotlight. We can things that aren't yet documented elsewhere, we can just point towards the thread, and I think that helps.
Wonderful. I was looking for the link to the board that you created. I'm pretty sure that we discussed this last time, and I don't see it in here. So,
I think
could you share?
I
minor detail.
If I wasn't driving.
Okay. It's got to be in the notes from a couple weeks ago.
I shared it in the chat last time.
Here it is. Here it is. I just have to like scroll in the document or something. Yeah. Does anybody ever do that? It's weird. Hello, cat. If I disappear, it's because the cat somehow hung up the
Amazing.
Yeah. So let me add that in here. Oh, hi. I am now a cat. So the new board is right here. And let me put that in the chat. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to update our, oh, okay. She's going to tear up my chair now. That's fine. That's a new one. Sorry about that. I'm going to update our template for our notes each day with that information. She makes a great background. All right, articles tracked here. Why is it not letting me click? It's like not letting me edit the doc for a second right now for some reason. What is happening? I'm going to refresh the page.
Good call.
Hello. Like does not want me to update. Chris, could you update the the tracked
Oh,
here link in the
yes.
template?
Sure. Yikes.
What is going on with my computer right now?
Mhm.
I'm still on
That-
the call.
That's a new one on me. Oh, don't tell me docs is down or something crazy like that.
If you can edit it,
That'd
then
be
it shouldn't
weird.
be.
We'll see here in a second.
I'm pretty sure it's just my computer. It's acting a little bit weird. So I might need help with the notes for the moment. Can at least go through things. Cool. So we'll add that to the tracking stuff. So how do we want to go about the process of setting up this board? Frederico's already set it up with all of our blogging information. I guess we task our leads with adding all of their relevant items into the board. Cool.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's a good one. And also we should check. So if they can try it, maybe they will fail because of something around the ACL. And if that's true, we should discuss that on our channel and go around seeing what needs to be changed and where. Because I'm not absolutely sure what is the IAM approach that the board has. If it picks up on some defaults or not. I think that it's something that we need to change because in other projects that I've been involved, there's a YAML file somewhere with names in it, not unlike everything else, to be honest. So I think we should, during the next week, we should go by trying. Like, someone tries to create, it fails. Let's solve that one and then go on.
love it.
Yeah, we'll
And I seem
tackle the
to have-
problems as we come up, and I can onboard
Exactly. Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My computer seems to be working again. So
Wonderball.
yay. Cool. So let's post in Slack about that and tag the leads. Tag leads. Cool. I think that's our next step. Go team.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. Okay. One other thing that I'm going to embarrass myself by mentioning is back when we went through all of those work items, Chris, I submitted the one for updating the Twitter Together repo, but it's blocked because Kim doesn't have org membership. I haven't been able to talk with her about it yet. I sent her a ping about it, but things, you know how things are right now.
I can ping her again. At this point, given the fact was she here last week?
No, I don't think so. I was gonna just go ahead and
see if she's able. Like we might
yeah,
just want to circumvent that for now.
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking I should just update the PR and remove her from it from now and just add her when she's ready.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Because so that's why I'm embarrassing myself by mentioning it, because I meant to do that and I didn't. So
I was gonna ask, like, how should we handle this? But I think that's the right way. Yeah,
I think that's the way to do it. Force myself to do more PRs is probably the appropriate way of doing things. Update our review episode. I also need to review a podcast episode. It's the other thing that I need to get done today. Good. Aslan needs to update the Twitter Together owners file PR. And we need to check in Kim about org membership. Lovely. And talking about org membership is a great lead into our new items. Sujay has started joining our meetings, and he reached out last week after our meeting with interest in the social media shadowing role, and you're also interested in the events role. And you're looking at taking over the SIG spotlight. So would you like to say a little bit more about those things, Sujay?
Okay. Yeah.
Ready to get going.
Yeah, so I want to get started, and can you please for now I think the social media guide is Kathleen, so can you please guide me to shadow you to in the works? And also I reached out to Avinash for the event lead event shadow. So let's see.
And Avinash mentioned something about that in our channel right before the meeting. He said he wouldn't make it today, but he did mention that you were interested in that and that he gave you a potential first task, it looks like.
Yeah. He asked me to attend more meetings to get familiar with what's going on in the meetings. Yeah.
And the tools, it looks like, too, the flow and comms and its components.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's good. And you can kind of do some work for both of these at the same time, honestly. Because my first task for you, we discussed a little bit, is going to be working on the KubeCon tweets planning, which I mentioned last week. And I was like, oh, we really need to get started on that. But the schedule wasn't out yet, but the schedule is out now. So task for this week is going to be going through the schedule for KubeCon and laying out which tweets we need. I told you a little bit about that last time. We'll go over it in more detail later.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that'll be first task, and we can get started with that in the coming week.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments about that?
Not for now. If I had any questions, I will ask you in the Slack channel. Yeah.
Sounds good. Which I just updated my notifications on for my work computer. Apparently, I was only getting mentions. So that would explain why I was missing so many things there, hopefully.
You still use GitHub notifications for stuff? That's impressive.
No, Slack.
Oh, Slack. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. GitHub notifications to my phone are how I get anything done in GitHub. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a tangential topic. I don't know if it's discussed further down or maybe not even worth discussing, but it's the one that we've been talking in the channel about Twitter. And
yes, that's a great point. We should bring that up. Is that an update or a new item?
Update.
I think it's an update.
So
yeah, go for it.
Well, no, Federico, do you have something first? I guess.
No, you can go ahead. It's just the topic is the one around one certain uncertainty around the future of Twitter, although that is not something that we can control.
No,
there is some things are changing very quickly, so something there. And even if that's not the topic, I mean, Twitter is not the only. When we speak about tweets, we are saying about reaching out to a community, right? So if there are other alternatives out there, I think that as comms, we should be in the forefront of trying to define something about that. So we have obviously the blogs, we have Twitter, but I don't think that we should be limited. We should have an active position, even if we don't determine the creation of resources, but we should have a position on it.
I agree. I think CNCF will ultimately have the answer for us, or Linux Foundation more accurately. I would suggest pinging them, like go to the CNCF service desk and say, hey, is there going to be an LF presence on Mastodon?
I think Bob's been keeping an eye on that.
He has, and I wish he was here.
Yeah.
But like, I haven't seen anything official from CNCF about it either. So I'm curious where it stands. But yes, I agree. We should be spearheading that effort.
You know, I should probably just reach out to the service desk and do that myself as the social media lead, because I've been kind of
works.
leaning on Bob since he was keeping an eye on it anyway. But I feel like we should just have a horse in that race, so to speak.
And you can tag
just keep an eye
Federico
on
and
it.
I in the ticket as well if you want, right? Like,
Okay.
But I do agree with Federico. We should, if there is a thing coming, we should be 100% ready for it.
Yeah.
And then my addition was, there is a Zap account at contributors at kubernetes.io. It's set, like it's there, it's not paid for. So Bob and I were talking yesterday. I think he got busy, but basically I just need the creds for that, and then we'll get it paid for, and then done. We'll have a Zapier thing that we can do multi-step zaps with. We just have to manage the credentials. That's all.
Cool. We already have access to some Zapier account, but we need a different one for this.
It's not like we need an official like ContribEx one, I feel like, because we do, like, Nigel's using his account to do some stuff with YouTube. Yeah. I'm using Nigel's account to do some stuff with our Twitter. Yeah. I'm using one of my accounts to do some stuff with some other stuff, you know, so it's all kind of like everybody's personal account. And I was talking with shoot, who asked me about this originally? Atarva. And he was like, no, we should have a central account. You know, everybody using their own personal account and getting paid for is going to get expensive quickly, right? Like, there should be a central place. It should be controlled by a few folks, and done. But CNCF swipes the card kind of deal. So basically the process is we set up an account, give the creds to CNCF, they put in the credit card, and it gets paid for annually kind of thing.
Same thing that we did with Buffer, essentially.
Yep, exact same process. It's just there's already an account and we don't have access to it.
Which, so Jay, I need to go over Buffer with you. And anyone else, if you want to do tweet stuff, I can give you an overview of Buffer, the tool that we use to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, we definitely need a centralized Zapier account. So you'll continue working with Bob on that, I guess.
I'll get that done.
The number of things that go back to Bob, all roads lead back to Bob.
Well, I mean, he's very proactive in creating accounts and stuff, so it doesn't surprise me that there was already an account there.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that it's like, oh yeah, we don't know how to share credentials for it kind of thing either. So
yeah, that is an issue that we've talked about.
Because you can't, I don't think there's like a Teams aspect of Zapier, and if there is, it's probably some fucking enterprise feature. So good luck. Super expensive kind of deal.
Yeah, good point. We'll figure that out.
Yep, we'll get there from here.
I'll try to get the pulse of what's happening in terms of the Mastodon or whatever, by talking with others, looking into the channels, and also in other places, and maybe do a summary of what I learned next week or something.
If you insist on assigning yourself a report, we will take it. So good to have you, Federico. Awesome. And how's the release going, by the way? You're doing release stuff still, right, Federico?
Yes, I'm an enhancements shadow this time. It was an enhancement freeze 2 a.m. today, so we have around 90 features, tracks. Awesome. So I think it's going well. I think each new release of Kubernetes seems to be slightly bigger in terms of numbers than the last. So I don't know if it's like the Moore's law applied to to Kubernetes releases. Let's see how long does it last. But yeah, it's going. I think it's going fine.
Awesome. Something we always like to keep track of course, so that if there's anything going on with release that we can help with, we'll be ready for it. Do you know who's the comms lead for that this time?
I
guess
know. Yes, it was Ashita, because I was the one that.
Oh, Harshita?
Yeah, Ashita Sawa. Yeah. So I've already pinged release comms channel as part of the enhancements team, but I will certainly also keep an eye on it as a ContribEx comms member. So anything that's useful for us to participate, I will obviously keep an eye and try to act, or act in terms of bringing it to the attention of the rest of the group.
Much appreciated.
Ashita Sao, I can write in the channel when I'm near my laptop.
Sounds good. I'm definitely interacted with Harshita before at some point, so I should also probably reach out to the comms channel there, assuming I have access to it. Assuming that I do. I don't know. But reach out and say hello, and we're here to help. Mm-hmm. We've said many times that we need to formalize that relationship more, but when the lead changes every time, the information and the ways that we interact change every time, and we just kind of try to keep an eye on it as best we can, honestly. Maybe one day we'll fix that.
Who knows?
We certainly are making a lot of progress. So excited about this group. It's awesome. Good. Any other updates or new items before we move into our table? Alrighty. I think we're good to go then. Nitish, would you ping me on Slack in a DM to remind me to talk to you about running the meeting if you're interested in it? Sure, even if not for this time, so that you know how it goes for some other time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go through our table. First item, one of those items that is on hold, probably because we're working on the other thing instead. I assume that this is one of those. What is this one? Automatically add a comment tagging GitHub comms team when a label is applied. Yeah. So mostly this is the tech leads who were interested in working on this. Before it was Hina, but Hina's out at least for several months. She was someone who was helping out with our group before. But this is not their top priority right now, and it's not super pressing. So it's not on the docket really. So I'll move on past that. Frederico has restarted the Kanban board. Are there any other blogging process updates that you're working on right now, Frederico?
Not that I'm aware. Well, maybe add to the repository some of the spotlight information that I have shared in the channel. I keep constantly referring people to that thread. Maybe it's worthwhile to add a SIG spotlight, improve the one that's there with that information. But apart from that, it's I don't think so.
Okay, sounds good. And maybe adding information about the board, I guess, but we're still kind of working that out. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sounds good. I think there is a doc in the repo right now that kind of has the basic workflow instructions for creating a SIG spotlight. But yeah, you might want to update that.
Yeah, there is, but there are a couple of aspects there around the. But it's a refinement more than anything new. You're right, because we already added stuff before. So
yeah, because I remember I was explaining it to folks every time they wanted to do one. Yeah. So I think I eventually made a doc.
You did. Yeah.
Cool. So there's something to work from. There's also a bunch of resources in there that honestly are kind of hard to navigate because they're not very well named, I think.
Could be
there could be
interesting
some
to
cleanup.
work on that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Making a master index of them and point towards them, because right now you write in that you just go to a folder and there are a bunch of empty files there. It would be interesting if we can put them into something to keep an eye on.
Sounds good. We'll go on ahead from that for now. It is time. I wrote that last week, but now it is time for KubeCon EU tweet planning. So this will be me and Sujay, unless you particularly want to be involved, Chris. Well, I mean, actually, you are involved because you're doing the summit. So
yeah,
it is all of us.
I kind of told the summit team that if they want to contribute to that like KubeCon thing, they can, but they're not obligated to, right? Like we're just in charge of the summit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the whole point of setting up that doc is so anyone can contribute in that way if they want to.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just kind of reiterated that with them. But we've been in a holding pattern because Reg is not open yet. So it's interesting.
Right. But the schedule for KubeCon at least is up now.
Yeah.
Someone was detected at your front door.
So let's start setting up that doc. Yes. So we usually tweet mainly about maintainer track sessions, and kind of general things like keynotes, the day is starting, sponsor showcase, booth crawl, those types of events. And I'll work with you, Sujay, on all the stuff we need to do for that. There'll be a lot of work to do, and I think it's relatively fun, relatively lightweight, small items. So it's pretty good, except for setting up the doc, which is what we'll do. That one's pretty heavy. All right, so next item, the owner's files. We did create those PRs, but as I mentioned, I need to update one of them. Oh no, this was the one of the incorrect ones. We never did add in the right PR links in here.
Whoops.
But we did not meet about it before the first meeting, but we did after the first meeting. I think yours went in, right? This one is tweets, so that's the one that's not done yet. But the other one, I think, went in. Yes, the other one is updated. So the only one still remaining is the top one.
Cool.
So I'm just going to say this one is updated, and I really should find the PR that I actually need to update. Yeah, merged. There we go. Please don't attack my arm, cat. All right, so moving on from that, if folks want to talk about owner's files more, welcome to stop me, but SIG.YAML needs a upstream marketing text update. I don't know if we ever did that, actually.
No
I
idea.
need a link. Could you find the SIG.YAML file so that we can at least put that link in here?
Yeah.
And then see if it does still have upstream marketing in it. I think it does. So there's an easy PR for someone.
Go look real quick. I dropped it in chat.
I think this is your.
Is this my PR?
This is
Oh,
your
this is my repo.
branch,
Sorry.
not branch, but yeah.
Click on
Fork. This is your fork of it.
click on the community underneath it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That'll take us to
Hopefully take you
6.YAML.
directly. No, of course not.
Not directly to it, but close enough.
Community.
YAML. There it is.
There.
And
Yeah, if you search for
oops.
upstream, it's in there.
There it is. Yep. So we need to replace upstream marketing in this doc with contributor comms. That is large text. Formatting. Let's link that. Where's the link button?
Someone was detected at your front door.
Need to update upstream marketing to contributor. So simple text update there. If anyone particularly wants to grab that, you're welcome. I know, Sujay, you've done a couple of these recently. So if you want to do another one, there's another one available.
Yes, I'm surely want to do that.
Cool. Then you'll already have 2 PRs, which I think is the minimum for org membership, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically. So we treat that pretty
Probably
loosely.
I will raise another PR for a typo I found in some docs.
Wonderful. Please do. Always appreciate it. Cool. Okay, we'll move on from that. We still need to update the GitHub team. We never did do that in our meetings.
Oh, how do we do that? Owners? It's gotta be owners, right? Teams? That's right. Team.
It's this one, teams.yaml.
Yeah.
The link is there in the notes. We at least need to add Mark, whose last name I don't remember right now, but who's a shadow for Imran. He added himself to our table, so we can find his GitHub handle there.
Cool.
So that is something that we need to do. Update. Put it on my to-do list at least. Update. Okay, we'll move on from there. Slackbot is another thing that's prioritized below Zapier stuff. So I'm moving on from that. Update repo with role descriptions. We are good on that for now. We're leaving it on the table though, because our roles are always open to change as folks get more familiar with the roles, if they want to change how they're defined, as folks shift out and in, we can always adjust things. So leaving it on the table, but currently I think our role descriptions are pretty good. And I'm excited that you're interested in shadowing. Anyone who's interested in shadowing, please do. Next item, contributor site, also prioritized below Zapier, so we'll skip that. SIG spotlights. We know that the SIG networking one is not on here currently. Mofi's probably not working on his anymore either. That happens sometimes. But networking is J. Cool. Federico, any other updates you want to share about SIG spotlights beyond what we've already talked about?
No. It's so the one that's on the SIG network is now being worked on. I have the CAP one ongoing as well, and the rest I've been updating, adding them in the board. So those are the two that are being actively working on.
SIG network, and what was the other one?
It was the CAP reading club.
Ah, I'm excited about that one. I want to hear more about that. That's such a cool idea.
I'm in the process of getting the answers for that, but I don't think it will be a problem because it's responsive.
Cool. I'm just gonna kind of remove all of these. And yeah.
I need to drop earlier. Apologies. I don't know if there's anything more that I can do.
Good.
Okay,
I think we've pretty much gone over all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing on the board and everything.
My pleasure. We'll continue this in Slack with the board specifically. And also have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye. Cool. Oh, ow. Cat just smacked my face with her claws. That's fine.
You say
Migration.
that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Gonna look into getting her another cat to play with today. Moving on. Migration from Katacoda to GitHub Codespaces. I guess, Chris, I think you're the only person here who would No additional things about that.
There's
I doubt
nothing.
you've heard anything recently.
I haven't, and I don't.
Yeah.
Like, once it's on the board, I can figure out. Like, I can actually tag people and do all that stuff. So I think that's important.
Yeah. The last thing that I heard about it was that it became even more urgent because they had that like special server for us to keep our stuff up, and then they're gonna deprecate that sooner than we expected. So it became more urgent, but I don't know if things are actually happening with that. So
Okay.
we just have it on here really to keep an eye on it and help where we
Mhm.
can. So that's the update, I guess. Validate command sporadically broken, another tech item, and it's prioritized below buffer.
Fun.
Buffer Zapier stuff. There's this blog post that Deborah put on our table. How long ago? This is from July of last year.
Well, LFX stuff just opened up. So if it's good, which it's not, is it good? I don't get it. What's the status?
It was supposed to be done like ages ago, and it was supposed to just need a couple of updates. And then Meha, I think, said that she said in September she was going to do it. And then I pinged her, I DM'd her on Slack earlier this year, I think.
Wow.
Or maybe right at the end of last year. And she said, yeah, I've been really busy. I'm going to do that like this week or something. And then I don't know if she ever did.
So I have the same problem with another PR.
Yeah.
And I talked to Bob about it. And he said, there's a way to give two people credit for a PR when you do the get commit message somehow. Like, you know how you open an editor, there's a way to do that in there. I haven't looked into it. He sent me a link. I can find it and share it, but this might be one of those scenarios where it's like, yeah, somebody else is gonna have to take this on and finish it.
Yeah, probably. I'll do another ping on it though.
Yeah,
He said
might
it's
as well.
LFX season again, right? So
Mhm.
LFX season
I
again.
just saw somebody post something about it, so it's got to be new-ish stuff.
Okay. I think it would be timely to get this done. Yeah. I don't know if Frederico is tracking this on the board. Let's add it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, do you want to see if you can add it while I
Okay,
continue going through things?
maybe. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Log PRs. I just,
You might want to assign it to one of our folks.
yeah.
Technically, Frederico should be in charge of assigning it to someone, and he will totally do it.
Yeah.
I feel like I should just do it since I'm here, but
I
also tempted to
don't
let him
really
do it because I know he
know
would
how
do
to
it.
like
Be
pull
awesome.
a PR into the board, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think I've ever done that before.
Yeah, I think there's been some like new updates to it and stuff too, but
It's what, 317? No, what is the
317 looks like.
317? Okay. Oof.
How is that such a low number?
That's the contributor site.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, here we go. Let's see here. Add to board? No, not there. So can you add PRs to the board, or should they be issues? I don't know. Let's just stick it on here and find out.
I'm going to add in the comment that we want to add it to our board and tag Frederico in it so that he knows about it. But I can wait a minute on sending that until we see if we can actually get it added to the board. And I could just add the link to where it is in the board, I guess.
Apparently I
or
just have
whatever.
to add a card and done. Okay. Let me add a description.
Sounds like a start. Even if it's
Yeah.
not right, it'll be good enough.
Done.
All right. And commented. That feels good. Using new processes and things. Also, there's a completely empty page there. Fix that. Okay. 8:53. Can we run through these last few items quickly? Keep track of SIG docs, blog, subproject process changes. Haven't heard anything on that. They were going to copy what Frederico did because Frederico is overly awesome at creating blog guidelines. Someday we would love to work on some guidelines for security comms alongside SIG security, but it's on hold. Nobody has really had bandwidth to work on it. The security folks are busy enough as it is, so it's going to take a lot of shepherding for whoever finally does that. So it continues to be on our board for something that maybe someday we will do. Scheduling tweets for non-contributor comms members. This actually is the priority. It's what we're trying to get done with Zapier and Buffer, is creating a path from GitHub to Buffer, basically. For
Put my name there, please.
Oh yes, will do. Yeah.
Thanks.
This is
That
especially
way I
important
remember
now.
where to update it.
Yeah. And this is especially important now because Twitter API charge.
So yeah, Buffer.
Yeah.
If we have a paid Buffer account, we get around that. So we're good.
Yeah. We should move everything in the table to the board.
Yeah.
If you want to have a meeting this week to do that, we could
That'd be
do
great.
that. Or
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Me too. I like moving stuff and organizing things.
Yeah, that's fun. Nice, relatively relaxing task to do next week. Let's try and do that. And the next item is your admin stuff, which I think we incorporated into the sub-project lead. I don't know how well we did that. If you want to create something different to also incorporate some of that.
Let me double check it just to make sure. But yeah, we should have put it in the rule book, I feel like. I don't know.
Theoretically, at least. I don't know if we actually intentionally did, but when we created the rule book, it should have just included that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, Mark last time was on and he mentioned an interest in setting up a contributor run owned podcast. Thought that was a cool idea. I said, let's look into it, see if that's a possibility that we could do and what it might look like. So he's going to start talking to some people about it.
I would strongly encourage having a podcast content plan for at least 6 months out before we even create an account or do anything.
Yeah.
That would just be my take, right? Like
podcasts are so much work.
It's a lot
I wouldn't
of
try
work.
And do it, but if Mark wants to do it.
Yeah, like if you don't have a plan or like guests or anything like that, just starting a podcast from nothing actually sets yourself up from failure. So yeah, you kind of have to think about what you're doing before you even start. Same thing with social media, right? Like we didn't create an account until we had known good content, known good people to manage it, that kind of thing. So same
granted,
thing
it still took us a long time to really get our automation set up so that it's always actually tweeting things.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, but yeah.
Yeah.
That does bring up a good point though. Does Zapier break because of stuff like that? I don't know. I don't think so. They might be limiting free accounts or something, I imagine.
Because of what kind of stuff?
The Twitter API is not free. So no matter
Yeah.
what, if Zapier is helping you integrate with Twitter, it's costing them money.
Yeah, so their
I
prices
don't-
might go up and stuff.
Yeah, their prices might go up. They might eliminate Twitter from the free tier. We don't know. So
Yeah.
that just overemphasizes the need for an actual real Zapier account for the
Definitely.
community.
Yeah. Adventures.
Mhm.
Perhaps the social media lead role will once again become even more manual. Who knows?
Yeah,
Perhaps we will be the Twitter API.
sadly, yes. I feel you're right.
And then the last couple items here, we had this just for fun idea that it would be great for us to create some like contributor comms gold star kind of like badge thing or something on GitHub
Mhm.
for achievements. Cool idea.
Yeah,
I don't know that we'll ever do it, but
we should.
and deprecating this table, which we've talked about a lot. So that's the table. 8:58.
Das table. Done. Good job.
There are only 3 of us left, but we made it.
Yeah, we did it. That's all.
So thanks so much for joining today, anyone. Any last questions or comments that folks want on the recording before I end it? All right, I'm going to end the recording.